Hi guys, my name is Miles the Wolf, also known as KAZAN303, and this is my home studio setup guide, or whatever you call it. So let's start with the box. This is my lunchbox. It's a ton case, like a flight case to carry around. It has 3 lids, front, top, and then back. And let's run through what's inside of it. So at the bottom, I just have an empty space with a separation installed just to keep this one up, so I can place my controller in here. Like if I move this keyboard, I can just get this one out of here just to store it for, put it out of the way or not. Above that, this one is my add-on mixer, and then this one is the main mixer. It's an 18i20 from Scarlett, from Focusrite, and then the other one is the Octapre, which makes it a 16-channel digital mixer. In between those mixers, I have my drums, mainly the Electribe sampler, and then the TR6S. These are not all my drums, and I might change this setup in the future. Might be getting an analog rhythm instead. Here's my other drum, the TT606. From there, and the main mixer, and then another draw with a controller for the DAW, and then the ME303, which is like a devilfish for the Cyclone versions of the 303. Above that, I have a PtAC producer Sign MB332, which is basically another 303, but then in rack version. Above that, we have the TT303 Mark II, another 303. The MB33 desktop, modded by circuitbenders.co.uk, also another 303. Above that, we have a small modular setup. Then we have 2 tip-top audio cases, which puts modular in a 19-inch rack system. So let's go over what we have here. Starting from the left, I have a 308 distortion module, which is basically like a rat pedal. Next to that, we have the Audio Game Changers plasma drive, which is another distortion and a drive, but it has plasma. Let me show you. It's pretty cool. Next to that, we have the Erica Synths bassline, which is, I don't know, their attempt at a 303 maybe. I'm not too sure about that, but it's not a 303. It's good. It's cool, but it's not a 303. Don't buy it if you want a 303. Next to that, I have the Pico CV mixer. It's a small thingy just to mix a few CV signals or audio signals. If you want, I just use it to mix CVs. Next to that, I have the Polyend Poly 2 to send. I send MIDI to this to send CV and gates to all the modules. Next to that, we have the U bursts, which is basically the Mutable Instruments clouds, but then in another format. Next to that, we have the Dirt filter. It's an extremely gnarly filter, especially with the resonance. Next to that, the Acid Lab M303 module, another 303 module. So if you want to go for 303s in a module, go for this, not the bassline. Maybe the one from DinSync if you can find it, but this is pretty fucking cool. Above that, we have the Mother 32, another fat bass synth, which can basically be a 303, or just a bass synth, or a high mono synth, whatever you want it to be. Usually I just use it as a bass synth. And that's the box. Everything is controlled from the inside with this little unit here, which is the Mio XL, which is a MIDI interface. Has, I think, like 8 inputs and 12 outputs of MIDI. Plus it has a MIDI USB host hub thing, which is very practical. And then in the back of the box, there's also a rack-mounted power plug-in on both sides. So I got 16 plugs on this box alone. And then that's pretty much the box, and that's what I bring to the live setup when I go anywhere, along with the PC, of course. It's just a small PC. They call it a Nook PC, I think. It doesn't have a screen, doesn't have a keyboard. You can upgrade it a little bit, but not really extensively. But it does its job, you know. I have a small monitor that fell to the ground right here. Let me get it. Which is what I bring for like, yeah, live gigs. Also, the audio is coming out of here and then into the monitors, of course. But I use that piece just to extend my cables and everything. It doesn't take away noise or nothing. It's pretty useless, to be honest. It's a bearing thingy, so. And then this is my controller for like CCs in the DAW. I use FL Studio, by the way. I get a lot of shit for using this, but I don't care. It's I like using it. Not saying it's better than anything else. It's just good, you know. I like the way it works. So, but I'll get back to that later. So that's my controller for everything. Above that, another TT303 I got recently. Next to that, we have the Micro Korg Black Edition. It's the not a rare one, not too rare at least, but I'm pretty happy that it's black keys. Above that, we have a TD3 with a custom accent launch mod. Above that, the TT I showed you before. And then we have the audio thing is Micro Monster, the SH01A, and the Axis Virus TI Snow. And that's pretty much my entire setup, drums, bass lines, and synthesizers all together. Everything goes through the KRK Rocket 8s. And it's, so how do I work with this? Well, everything runs through here. Excuse me. All the MIDI is sent from these little guys to the equipment, and then the equipment sends the sound to the mixer. And then the mixer sends it out to the speaker, or however it fucking works. So I make all my patterns in here. Like, for instance, let me show you this little TT here. I just go in here, and that's how I make my patterns. And then I can put it in here when I'm done. Like, this is pattern 7, so that's this one right here. Let me just play it for you. Alright. So now it's sending notes to that specific 303. And this controller can turn everything on and off in here. So like, these are usually my kicks, so if I turn these on, it's kick. Those are turned on now. And hi-hats, claps, hi-hats, and the other stuff. I guess the most interesting in my case is that I have like 8 or 9 bass synths. So this is a TT, that's the other TT. It's this one, but it doesn't have a pattern. It's this one. That's this one. Let me see. And then all we have left is the bass line. So yeah, that's how I work. So I set up my instruments. I don't use any VSTs, no, nothing. Just I use samples, and then I might chop it up like that to, you know, sequence it better. Or I just push it in here. and then let it play like in order, in song mode or whatever you call it. This is just a small song, but yeah, that's all I use. I do, however, use like VSTs on my mixer. Like this one, everybody knows it's crap, but sometimes it gives you that little crunch, and multibands, chorus, reverbs, and all that shit. And that's pretty much how I do it. I just make patterns in this, send it out to the gear, play with it, try to put everything down as perfectly as I can, and then do the audio stuff and mixing in there. Something like that. I hope this has been good and informational. If there's any questions, I guess put them in the comments, or just ask. If I can help with anything, just ask me. Usually I'll give you an answer. Okay, so this is Miles, aka KAZAN303, signing off.